Yeah, so we're about to go into some pretty heavy content, or it could get heavy. And we were just talking about how we were going to discuss today and what we were going to discuss. And Storm brought it to my attention that we should do a blunt trigger warning because the topic is working well in trauma. So we might choose to share something that, or one of our own traumas that might remind viewers of their own. So you know, please make sure that you're feeling good about watching the show. If there's something that does trigger you, please feel free to reach out to your networks. If you need to extend your networks to our network, our email is ccandseith@gmail.com. We're not always going to be able to respond right away. So if you're feeling extremely triggered, please go to your network or, call emergency services. I'm wondering, have folks ever been triggered at work by like a client or by a situation, and what did you do to navigate through those feelings? And like Seith kind of started the show just like sharing an example of that. I'm just like wondering if folks have had those experiences or like their own experiences rather.
I've definitely had moments when I'm dealing with a public where somebody has obviously been like drinking and like maybe they're like extremely drunk and they're accessing our services, and it kind of reminds me of some stuff that I don't really like dealing with from my childhood. And working through that for me was hard, but at the same time it's like trying to be patient and understand, and then at the same time like communicating to my coworkers that this truly like this freaks me out, and individually like it kind of upsets me because of like what I've had to come from. And it's like we were fortunate at the residential school center to have partners who worked with support services and mental health. And so we were able to access them and bring them in to help that person, as well as like, after that was dealt with, she would turn to me. She's actually passed away now, but was really sad about that. But she actually would turn to me and she'd be like, well, how are you doing? And that was like the real first time where like somebody had recognized that work trauma is something that's felt by people who are behind the desk. And I kind of just, I went and I wrote about it. I thought about it. I kind of like tried to unpack it a bit of like, well, why does this bug me and why does this continue to bug me? And I accessed a few free counseling sessions, but like, I mean, they only give you a couple. It's not going to give you like a major breakthrough or anything, but it kind of like, it started building some better habits. And like, that was like one situation in which I worked through it. Another is like, I'm a historian, so I work with a lot of people who like don't necessarily come from the same background as me. Just because typically there aren't a lot of people from that background in professional history. So it's kind of like seeing something or hearing something that really upsets me, or seeing a behavior pattern that really upsets me, and kind of like having to make people aware of that and the reasons why. And working through that for me, sometimes it might just be putting on my headphones and kind of like zoning out and getting my work done, or it might be taking a walk, or it might be going home early for the day and working the rest of the day at home. Not everybody has those advantages, but those are kind of the ways that I work through it and the ways that work best for me.
I've been triggered by clients and like actually taken a sick leave before too. Like, cause I grew up like, and raised in a single parent home in poverty, and spent some time in care, and the whole whirlwind with like family addictions and that sort of thing. So when I work with kids in care, a lot of the time they'll have very similar experiences, and sometimes they're close to home, like in a sense, like it's Sault Ste. Marie's small, right? So you just like everyone kind of knows everyone. So like, there's been times where it's gotten heavy and I've just taken like a sick leave. And sometimes you need to do that, and there's no shame in that. So I just wanted like folks to know that that's okay. Sometimes you're not always able to do that, like for whatever your financial reasons are. Like anyone can take a sick leave on EI if they have like a doctor's note, but if for whatever reason that's a barrier, it's always good to like speak to like your supervisors or your like your superiors or whoever hired you just about just like creating more support for you or more safety. Sometimes that gets hard too, though, just because of capitalism and pressure. Like, you don't want to seem like you're the person that can't handle your job, or if you're triggered, then maybe you shouldn't do your job. So, like, I understand where that push pull comes from, and it takes a lot of bravery to be like working while in trauma. So kudos to anyone out there being like brave and strong like that. But the best you could do is like create those support systems and create people that you can like vent to, and then hopefully you have folks that you can help you create solutions to those traumas, or just to support you when you're triggered from other folks' trauma or from your work in general.